Hi, the name of this Blender video tutorial is PathAnimation. One option for animating the movement of an object is to place the object on a path which will automatically move the object's position over a specified range of frames. To demonstrate path animation, I've created in my Blender scene a very simple hilly landscape along with an equally simple airplane-like object with a front propeller which is a child of the airplane object. The object here is to animate the airplane's propeller to rotate around the y-axis and have the airplane itself fly through the hilly landscape. The whole animation will last 250 frames, or about 10 seconds. I'll first animate the propeller object to rotate around the y-axis. Making sure that I'm in frame number 1, I'll select the propeller object and insert a rotation keyframe by clicking the I key. I will then move to frame number 10. Here I will set the object's Y rotation to 360 degrees. I'll then insert a rotation keyframe for the propeller object on frame number 10. Now the propeller should rotate on the Y-axis one complete revolution in 10 frames. With the propeller object selected, I'll go to the graph editor. I will then open the rotation key set, select the Y rotation channel, and hide the others. To get a closer look at the animation curve, I'll select View, View All. I do not want the rotation to ease into the keyframe, so I'll press the A key, which selects both control points or keyframes, and then press the V key and select Vector Handles. This will make a straight line from one keyframe to another, eliminating the easing. Then with the Y rotation channel selected, I'll click on the Channel, Extrapolation Mode, Make Cyclic. The 10-frame animation of the propeller object is now extended throughout the 250-frame length of the animation. I'll go back to the 3D viewport and play the animation. The propeller spins throughout the animation. Next, I want to place the airplane object on a path, animating its movement through the hilly landscape. First, I'll go to Top View and place my 3D cursor in the bottom left of the landscape, and I'll add a Path Curve object. I'll go to Wireframe View, Z key, and zoom in on the path object. I'll tab into Edit Mode. As you can see, the path object has 5 control points. I'll select and grab each of these control points, starting with the leftmost, and move them into the landscape, beginning to form a path between the hills. Once I have done that, I can select the last control point, and holding down my control key, I can left-click, adding more control points to the path object so that I make a curved path throughout the hilly landscape. I can then grab any of the control points and move them, forming a nice curved path through the landscape. I'll switch to Side View, tab out of Edit Mode, and raise the path object up into the landscape. I'll then tab back into Edit Mode, and now I can select any of the control points and raise or lower them in making the path curve dimensionally through space. I'll tab out of Edit Mode, and I'll name this path object Airplane Path. We next need to go to the Object Data Editor for the airplane path object. In the Path Animation panel, we first need to ensure that the Path Animation box is checked. We then need to set the frames from the default 100 to the full length of the animation, which is 250. I'll now select the airplane object, and before we can constrain its movement to the airplane path object, we need to first clear its location. To do this, with the airplane object selected, press Alt-G. This clears the location of the object. In effect, it sets it to X, Y, and Z equals 0 in the location settings. Now, if you do a path animation with other objects, you may have to clear the scale as well by pressing Alt-S, or clear the rotation by clicking Alt-R. Now, with the airplane object selected, I'll go to the Constraint Editor and add a constraint. I'll select the Follow Path constraint. I'll click on the Target Object box and select the Airplane Path object. This places the airplane object at the start of the airplane path. We'll need to check Follow Curve, and then adjust the forward setting to -Y. Finally, we have to establish keyframes for the path evaluation time. I'll select the airplane path object and go back to the Object Data Editor. In the Path Animation panel, the path evaluation time is set by default to 0.00. I'll go to frame number 1 in the timeline. Then I will right-click the Path Evaluation Time control box and select Insert Keyframe. This will place a keyframe on frame number 1 for the Path Evaluation Time control set at 0.00. I'll then set the timeline to frame 250. I'll change the value in the Path Evaluation Time box to 250. I'll then right-click on the control box again and select Insert Keyframe. This will place a keyframe on frame 250 for the Path Evaluation Time control set at 250. I'll now go back to frame number 1 and play the animation. The plane object follows the path from frame 1 to frame 250. I'll stop the animation, select the airplane path object, and go to the Graph Editor. Here I can control the curve of the path animation. I'll select all of the control points with my A key, then click the V key and select Vector Handles. This will remove any easing of the animation speed. I'll go back to the 3D editor and play the animation. The plane object moves along the path at a constant speed.